So we have lighting. Check this out. We can actually see stuff. Today on the agenda, we have dropping out subframes, gas tank, get everything off the chassis. Get everything out of this sucker. I cut off the subframe connectors. You can now see very clearly the through the floor subframe connectors, how they go into those. They're sleeved by that. Anyhow, here's this line. There's the remaining brake line that we have to drop out. But we have to go through here, weld up all this stuff, clean it all up, make it nice and pretty. And yeah, that's about it. We're gonna drop out the front K-member finally. Throw that sucker on Craigslist. And yeah, there's nothing else to say right now. So let's get to work. So current state of the Cobra. We have cleaned the bottom. We have deleted these guys. They were mounting points for control arms for the rear axle. We won't be needing those anymore because we have that set up. So, independent rear suspension, bolts here and here. Therefore, we don't need that. It's just extra weight, and more importantly, it actually gets in the way with working on the independent rear suspension. Now that I've removed that, I can take off the upper control arms without having to drop the entire suspension. Well, I could kind of do it before, but it was a lot more difficult. It just gives me a lot more work room. So, right here, we've got these guys all done. You can see inside here are subframe connectors. See right here? This is all Dynaglass or Bondo glass or whatever you want to call it. The green stuff with the Bondo with fiberglass in it. That's what I use to fill in those guys. Same thing over there. So the bottom, oh, I just hit my head on a lift arm. Awesome. Okay, so this frame is stiff as all hell now, and it's fantastic. You can jack up one end. The other day I had to relocate that the lift feet because I wanted to get some work done under if you look like here, had to clean up some of that stuff. There was like a lip, kind of cut it off, but anyways, I had to relocate them, and so that meant putting one of the posts here because it wouldn't reach far enough to go here, and I used a 2x for some spacing. Anyways, this side was roughly about 1/4 inch higher than the other side, and the car is so stiff now that this foot was here and it had about a 1/4 inch gap. I could slide a 1/4 inch plate of aluminum in there easily. So, I mean, it has no engine or transmission in it or whatever. There's nothing in the car, but before, I think it would have just flexed and filled that gap. Now, we have a backbone, and that is awesome. So, just for some additional peace of mind, I stitch weld these guys to here, because what I had to do was basically cut nearly in half this floor pan and slide in this thing from the top. And yeah, just additional, making sure this thing isn't gonna flex too much. Gotta do it right. Cleaned up some holes that I accidentally punched through whenever I was removing sound deadening. all the black stuff you see, it's stuff called PR15. This stuff. And it's amazing. Do not get it on you because it is very difficult to get off. If you do happen to make that mistake, which if you use it at all, you will get some on you. Handy trick nobody seems to know about is use your wife or girlfriend's fingernail polish remover, and that acetone will break it down and turn it back into kind of a greasy substance. So, and then you can just wipe it off. You have to like really wipe it like you're wiping grease. So this stuff is all gonna get covered up underneath sealer. 2 coats of sealer and then 2 coats of single stage avalanche gray. Yep, we have settled on a color officially because I bought the paint. So yeah, today I am just prepping the bottom. I gotta sand down these guys a little bit. There were some holes there that the sheet metal is so thin and that's not structural in any way. I just wanted to seal it up and not have to deal with any more welding or whatever back here. I really need to get some 23 thousandths or 23 hundredths wire. The 023. I need to get some of that wire for instead of my 030. I recently learned by watching my friend Pete's videos that if you use the 030 or 035, you will blow through lots of sheet metal, and that kind of explains a lot of the problems I've been having with welding up little bitty holes. I also wanted to see how it would do before I use it on these guys, because the fiberglass Bondo stuff was recommended by, what's their name? They do a bunch of Mustang shops. I'll put the link in the description. Oh man. Oh, freaking. The dude's name is Tyler, but they do lots of Mustangs, especially SN95s. They're an awesome shop. They do amazing work. And yeah, so he's done this before. He uses this stuff, this fiberglass Bondo stuff. That's before I've like really sanded it all down. What the hell was that? Something crazy just happened outside. That's just like you stick it on, wait for it to get a little hard, and then you use like a rasp to knock down a lot of the big stuff. And then you come back later with some like 30 or 40 grit and just make it kind of smooth. The welds are not top notch. Yeah, I understand that. But this is not a concourse show car. All I care about this area back here is it being sealed and rust free, because it is all gonna be filled with all of that stuff. You won't be able to see any of this crap once we have the gas tank and everything back in the car. But I want it done right so that I don't have to worry about anything, and so that, you know, if I do have to sell the car for whatever reason in the future, nobody else has to worry about anything. And also, like, I love to be able to take my car to a shop to get an alignment and not have to worry about, or not, you know, just kind of be proud of people enjoying the work that I've done, instead of making fun of the amateur who did a piss poor job because he didn't know what he was doing, or because he got in a rush. So do it right, do it once. What we have here is our Maximum Motorsports K member. It's replacing that bad boy over there, which is for sale. Also, those springs, they are for sale. 98 Cobra lowering springs. Yeah, so just test fitting, making sure this guy would actually fit. I got not a great deal, but a fair deal Got these control arms with it, which fixes suspension geometry for how low I'm gonna wanna go. The reason I wanna do test fitting is because I knew about this brake line. You have to modify it and move it around a little bit. So that's done. I don't have to worry about it whenever I go to put it all back together. Well, we got sealer on the car. Had a bit of a setback. I bonked my head pretty good, so that kind of took some time out of the day, and I had to relearn how to shoot with my neighbor's gun, and I had to fix the spigot and make it point in there like back towards the back of the can, so that whenever I tilted the paint gun up, it would actually feed properly. You know, so a little bit of me just being a clumsy oaf, and you know, which is normal, and then me just learning some new stuff. So this is what we got. It's a little thin, but I had to get something on to try to seal everything up. I'm just gonna have to come back to it later. But the good news is that since I'm painting it gray, I should be able to just come back and scuff the sealer, maybe get some runs out, and then just shoot avalanche gray over the sealer whenever I can actually get back to it. So just do this so you can see it's all one color at least. So, you know, don't hate too hard. It's pretty thin. I didn't have a lot of time to do the coats as well as I wanted them to, but everything has coats. It just doesn't, it's just not as thick as I want them to be. So at least the bare metal is protected, I think. And it's all sealed so that whenever I actually do get time, I can come back through and just shoot the car like normal. Yeah, oh, freaking board. Wind. Oh. So, yeah. That's where we are right now. Okay, well, that's about it. Time to cook some burgers.